A special edition of the Lions game plan from Ford Field after Detroit's 52-21 home opening win over the Chicago Bears. As always, I'm joined by Mike Payton from A to Z Sports. Mike, that was a lot of fun. Much more fun than week one. 52 points. Defense looked good most of the afternoon. Just initial thoughts after really a beatdown start to finish.
This game felt personal. I mean, from the get-go, this thing felt personal. I think it was a mixture of wanting to show the world that they could play without Ben Johnson and also wanting to show the world that, hey, they're not that team that they were in week one. And they cleaned up all those things that they said they were going to clean up and more. 52 points, that's unbelievable. That 7 days ago, a lot of Lions fans wanted John Morton fired. He gets 52 points in this game. That's what an answer. What a response.
So you said personal, so I want to jump to the end of the game before we go back. Lions are up 45-21, down right about here, 4th and goal. They go for it with, I don't know, we were halfway through the fourth quarter at that point. They go for it, they get it, just continue the beatdown. Was there anything said after the game about that? It felt personal that they went for it.
For starters, Brian Branch in the presser after the game said that the Lions felt betrayed by Ben Johnson, not just leaving, but going to Chicago. That was a big deal for them, and they clearly wanted to show it. And this was, they were running up the score a little bit. They didn't need to do that. We know that they didn't need to do that. Could have kicked a field goal. This thing would have been, it would have been over. It was done.
Yeah.
It was done. So they went out there. They showed that they took that thing personally. And Jameson Williams in the locker room after the game said that, hey, we just put up 50 points to show you. Like, we don't need Ben Johnson. Like, they like Ben, and they said that they like Ben. Everybody said they love Ben today. Just want to put that out there. But they clearly showed that they did not need him, and they could go out and they could do the things that they wanted to do without him.
And they did. I mean, all the playmakers made plays. 5 different guys scored a touchdown, but Amon-Ra St. Brown had 3 touchdowns, 115 receiving yards. He was all over the place this afternoon.
Yeah, I think of all the guys that you could see it was visibly a personal thing for, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. You saw that from the get-go. Right over here in this corner, you saw him drag 2-3 guys. He was trying to get 4 touchdowns in this game, but he was just a madman in that first quarter. If I would have told you after the first half that he had 100 yards and he only got 15 more after that, but still walked out with 3 touchdowns, you would have thought I was crazy. But this guy, he was just unbelievable. And then he took a side step and let everybody else have some fun, but still got his other 2 touchdowns. It was what a game.
And then on, his counterpart, J-Mo, he was quiet last week. He was pretty quiet in the first half this afternoon as well, but then he comes out, has that huge play early in the third quarter, then that 44-yard touchdown. What did you see that finally started to get him going after a tough game and a half to begin the season?
Well, I think you saw in this game why the Lions decided to pay him now instead of later, because he could change a game in an instant. Now, the Lions were ahead in this one, so it didn't really seem like much of a game-changing thing, but a 64-yard play, a 42-yard touchdown, it just happens that quick with J-Mo. He could just get out there, he can show that speed, he can make these huge moves on a dime, and just that's why they paid the guy. That's why they paid him now instead of later, and then when all these other guys start getting paid over the course of the offseason, it's going to look like a massive discount after the season. I think he's probably going to have.
I'm not going to not talk about, the opponent difference because Packers-Bears, obviously, the talent level. But staying on the offensive side of the ball, Jared Goff, he played great, but his pocket was so clean most of the afternoon. After a week, the offensive line struggled. I mean, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs combining for 150 yards. What did you see out of the offensive line maybe improved from last week that helped those guys have a better game this time around?
Well, it's the thing that we talked about earlier this week on the game plan, which just getting rid of the missed assignments, the communication errors. The Lions did that. They were able to kind of get those kills in and hear everything the right way, make sure everybody was in the right spot where they were supposed to be. And it was simple as that, just back to basics. Get rid of those missed assignments. Lions were able to do that. And then when there were some issues with pressure, Goff was able to sidestep and Goff was able to make some moves that, people say he usually isn't able to make, but he was able to do something. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not running away from it. He's not gaining 15 yards or anything like that, but he was able to get out of the way, make some plays, and Yeah, this was just an overall much better performance by this offense.
But you can't not talk about the defense because, first couple Bears drives, you kind of had the feeling of, uh-oh, here we go again. And then they really locked in. I mean, Brian Branch forced the fumble. Kirby Joseph had the turnover, that 4th-and-1 stop. Aiden Hutchinson got that first sack, which is probably a huge monkey off his back at the end of the game. What did you see from the first couple possessions from the Lions defense and how they were able to lock things in and really shut it down the rest of the way?
Yeah, those scripted drives from the Bears early, that's when you have to really kind of set that stuff aside and say, these are scripted. Bears knew what they were going to do. Let's see how things go later in the game. And once we got later in the game, the Lions were able to get the pressure. Aiden Hutchinson had 5 pressures and a sack in this game, as you mentioned. Marcus Davenport got home on one. AQM, he got one. Yeah. Brian Branch got one. Everybody seemed to want to get in there and tackle Caleb Williams in this game. But coverage-wise, they were able to settle in. There wasn't so much busted coverage as there was in those first early plays where you had Jack Campbell on Roma Dunze. I don't know what we're doing there. But once everything got settled in, everybody was in where they were supposed to be. Brian Branch had just a monster game in this one with 2 forced fumbles, a sack, a tackle for a loss. He had a pass breakup. It was just a monster game. And I think he maybe regrets his roughing the passer call that got Terry and Arnold his interception taken away, which would have been his first career interception. He did say afterwards that he owed him, maybe it's a nice steak dinner or something.
You'll take that. Maybe you want the interception, but a steak dinner would.
Both would be good.
Go too. A feel-good win for the Lions all across the board. Mike Payton from A to Z Sports. You can catch him once again on the Lions game plan this upcoming Wednesday before a tough one. The Lions headed to Baltimore. They'll take on the Ravens next Monday night on Monday Night Football.